Good morning. Namaste. Welcome. Welcome to this bright, lovely Sunday morning. Good morning. We have a very wonderful topic, and I have I just kind of reviewed what it is and how this line caught my eye some time back. And I thought that I must bring this up because uh, it has very different meanings. I'm happy that some people are joining in now because a lot of times when I'm working with people and they're coming up with things that they're struggling with at this point in their lives, this is very powerful because we are usually, I mean, a lot of us, in spite of being on this path, are still kind of focusing for things outside to settle down. So when I say that when you build your homes in other people, you give them the power to make you homeless. And in fact, only yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine in London, and she said that I remembered she was advising her child for something, and she said, I remembered, and I told her that Sujata auntie told me many years back that don't give that remote control of your emotions to anybody else. Have that remote control with yourself. And maybe at that time, this must be at least 7, 8 years back, maybe I also fully didn't understand this, but I fully understand and live by it today. So what does it exactly mean? Firstly, it's that we are giving others the power to press that remote control. Now they press this button of anger and we start feeling angry. They press this button of, say, trying to make us feel rejected, and we feel rejected. So they are making us homeless because we are feeling that they have to accept us. They have to accept us. Their acceptance will give us our sense of worth. I'm going to repeat this line. It's a very powerful line. It just flows from somewhere. When other people accept us or give us a place in their lives, in their homes, as I'm saying, then we understand or we feel that we are worthy. Otherwise, we don't feel that. But really, that's not true. That's really putting everything in the other person's lap and saying, okay, if they tell me to stand, I stand. If they tell me to sit, I sit. But that's really not true. And that's not really how I would want to live. Isn't it? Does that make sense? Because before I go ahead deeper, I would want you to want a kind of a response that do you understand what exactly is it that I'm saying? The onus of whatever you are feeling lies totally with you. Don't let anybody manipulate you or give them that power that, they can make you laugh or cry or feel happy or feel sad. Take that responsibility upon yourselves. Don't let anybody kind of take over that remote. Because what happens is that leads to a lot of disappointments when your expectations are not met. Once they accept you, next time they don't accept you. Once they're happy at your joke, next time they don't respond at your joke. And you kind of feel rejected. But it's really nothing to do with them. Shift your focus to yourself. Make yourself comfortable in your own home and let others come and visit you there. Don't keep seeking approval. Don't keep seeking, validation from others to give you your sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Because that is not honoring yourself. That is not honoring your life. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Ekta?
a lot of sense, Sujata. So, in fact, today only I experienced that my one niece, she's studying abroad, and the other one is already completed her education, and is in India. So she kind of, told her sister that you should come back for Diwali, you should come back for Diwali. She had a short break, but she didn't want to come back because she had a lot to complete in terms of college. Like the younger one, she is in so much of guilt because her elder sister told her that you should come
Hmm.
back and you don't care about the family. So
Hmm.
today morning only she called me up in self doubt that have I changed? Am I not a good human being
Mhm.
because I've not gone back home,
Mm.
and I'm feeling miserable about myself ever since my sister told me that I've not gone back because I don't care. But you understand that I couldn't go. I had so much to do. But that poor child who's all alone has been feeling so guilty from the last 15, 20 days because the elder sister judged her and told her that, if you're not coming back, that means you don't love the family.
Yeah. Not fair at all. I would say not fair at all because you cannot base your relationships or your love on this. And sometimes, like they say now that, or she might have said that this is about feeling, the other one feeling that am I becoming selfish, or people telling her that you are selfish. In this case, the other sibling telling her that you're being selfish. But no, this is about self-preservation. If she has so much work to do, I mean, she would love to come home, wouldn't she? As any of us. But she's not, she is choosing to be away, complete what she needs to do because that is her priority at that time. That's not being selfish at all. I call it self preservation. To travel to India, be here for Diwali, go back, have all your assignments piled on, your space in a mess. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. But yes, I would really want to help that child to understand that this is not at all. You just don't need to be guilty at all. I mean, you enjoy, you sit there where you are. The thing is that we get into this dichotomy because we are neither there nor here. It's like, oh, I wish I could have gone because that is how our mind operates. I've been telling you repeatedly, particularly on this platform. If I go, I'm guilty. If I don't go, then if I go, I feel guilty that I've left my work behind. If I don't go, then I feel guilty. Oh, am I ignoring my family? But that's not true. I mean, neither of them are true. I have to see what I need to do, what is most in alignment with my own energy. So many times we pull ourselves, we extend ourselves beyond our abilities, physically, mentally, emotionally. And that is such a big drain on us. And sooner or later, it starts showing up in our body. So, really learn to take that pause, learn to step back, learn to say no, learn to build those healthy boundaries. And yes, if you say that no, and like Vani was sharing, if you say no, I'm not coming, and I'm sitting here with guilt and I'm feeling miserable, I'd rather go. But now gather your energy, take that remote control back in your hand and say, okay, I'm here. Now let me make the best of it. I mean, really, now don't waste a single minute, a single breath of your life. Okay, guilt is happening, feel the guilt, it's okay, and speak to them and say, I would love to be there, but this is what it is. So make the best of where you are. Draw those healthy boundaries. Don't overextend yourself if it is draining you. Your life is for you. I mean, if you are the one who's doing or kind of um, the center of everything that is revolving around other people or close people in your life, if you crash down, imagine what is going to happen to them. And do you really want to come to that break point where you know everything kind of collapses till everybody takes responsibility for themselves and pick themselves up? So don't come to that break point, whether it is physically involving yourself in activities with people around you or doing for people, or even like in this case, not coming home because you feel I would rather just be here and complete my work or whatever. And sometimes, like here, like as Vani has said, there's a valid reason. The child has work to do, where she's studying. But at a point, you may not have a valid reason, and our mind will drive us mad and will make us go crazy thinking that, oh, I didn't go home, but I may not feel at that time that I want to go home. I just want to be in my own space and kind of use this time to rejuvenate myself. There's no real valid reason, but I still want to stay back. Honor that feeling within you, respect and honor that feeling within you, and then you will see how others, like through your work, through that need for validation and appeasement, you're only trying to seek approval of others. You want people around you. You want people to love you, isn't it? That is what we are trying to do. A lot of times we are doing actions only from the point that people feel, oh, I cannot be without this person because, he's the one who's doing everything. He's the one who's providing for the family, even if he's extending himself beyond, or she's the one who's doing for everybody, she has everything ready for everybody. But no, that's really, really sabotaging yourself. I call it straight self sabotage. So even if you have to be selfish, be selfish. Won't you save anything if there's a threat in your home? Won't you save anything, do anything to save your space? That's the external so-called home that we say. But look at the space within. If it disturbs your entire, kind of energy system, if things get disrupted, your mind gets disturbed, you feel stressed, you feel upset, you feel depressed, and it's happening again and again. This internal home that we have within ourselves is actually is literally breaking down. So don't bring yourself to that break point. If you're doing something, you're extending yourself, but you're doing that happily and you're enjoying doing that, please go ahead, even if it means that you're stretching yourself beyond your limits. But be happy and peaceful with it. Don't do it with the expectations that now I have done this, now I should get this, or now I have done this because of whatever, whatever. But now, like, even though I don't have the strength and the ability, but I still have to do it. We don't have to do that. We are sensible enough to make that healthy choice for ourselves. And we may say, yeah, I can work 24 hours without sleeping. That's fine. But how long can you do that? 1 day, 2 days? You will definitely crash on the third day. Similarly, emotionally, I can take all this emotional stress, I can take all this mental stress, but how long? Right now, many of us, like, I wouldn't say me, but yeah, many of you here are in a very, young prime ages where your body can cope with much more. But as you begin to age, as all of us begin to age, the cracking starts to happen because, those lines are already there. Now they are beginning to crack open. Till your youth, you could manage it, but now they begin to crack open. And you feel that kind of stress, that burden, that inability to cope with things. And then we say, I'm so overwhelmed, I have so much to do. But we have put ourselves in that position where we've always shown that this doing gives us happiness, this doing gives us an identity, isn't it? And uh, I mean, previously it made us very happy also because everybody would say, yeah, yeah, she's the one who does this, or she's the one who, you know, kind of manages the whole show. And it's okay to accept that now I can't manage the show. My body is slowing down. Times are changing. So much has happened in the last years. So maybe I don't have that same ability to cope with what all I coped a couple of years back. And there is nothing wrong in accepting that. Nothing wrong in accepting that. And if it displeases the other people, or if it, kind of other people turn away from you, then it's that relationship is not worth it. Believe me, it's not worth it. And you have to somewhere honor yourselves. You really have to come into a space where you honor yourself, honor this life that you have chosen to, incarnate in for yourselves.
Another thing that I wanted to say that, like at work also, I'm experiencing that sometimes, people will just make some non-meaningful comment or something very like a passing remark kind of a thing. And then if you don't agree with them, they make it like a ego war. Like, in my organization, we have a fixed
Yeah.
price, so we tell them that, okay, we are working on a fixed price. But आप मेरे लिए तो कर सकती है ना. I said, we are
Hmm.
working on a fixed price, and then we are politely replying, and then they take it to their ego and their heart, and every time it gets so
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. So look at the bigger picture here. Thanks for pointing that out, Vani. And you are using it in your kind of work setup in your shop. But if you look at it at a bigger in a bigger way, what is exactly happening? You are not agreeing to the other person's, if I may even say something like a request, or you and the other person have a difference of opinion, right? It's like, I don't know what I have done for this lady that I'm buying something from her store and I'm obliging her, but that's really not true. It's a matter of exchange. You have still made that thing and you're selling it off. She'll keep it for her life. So, honor, these are small, small things, that when you hold yourself back, and this is something which I teach in my abundance workshop, I mean, just feel absolutely. um I mean, don't wait a single moment. If you need to pay somebody, if you're buying something, honor that. Don't do this little kit of bargaining over a few rupees, which you don't even know. They may be lying here, there in your almirah, in your room. You don't even know. But just that sense of validation at that time that I could buy it at a little lesser price. I mean, one has to be exercise this with discretion. I'm not saying that it's always, but in the small, small things, I would say don't go into that because you're putting your energy down. It's only because you have that kind of worth within you that you can afford to buy such a thing. So honor it and buy it at that time. And if you can't, then don't, don't do something which you're taking it heavily upon yourself or you feel you can't afford because then you're putting yourself into a totally different category. Don't do that. The moment you get something, be thankful that the universe and somebody has trusted you with what you have and they have given you that ability to pay whenever you want to, but just do it with honor even if it means that it's a diminishing aspect in your bank balance. If you want it, pay for it, honor it, whatever it might be, a 10 rupee thing, a 1,000 rupee thing, or a 1 lakh rupee thing, it doesn't matter. Honor it there and then. Because that thing that you're buying, I mean, it's a very big exchange. It's a very big exchange, whether it's with staff working with you or just going and buying vegetables. Why do we have to bargain? Those 10, 20 rupees mean nothing to us at some point, but mean so much to the other person. And look at it in a broader perspective. Those little actions or words or responses in relationships mean so much to the other person. So make that effort if you really want relationships to work out. If you want yourself, if you want yourself to be honored in relationships, behave in the same way as you want to be treated. It's a very big thing. It's a very big thing. I'm studying astrology, as many of you know, and we had a class last week, and my teacher said something very, very nice, which caught my attention. And I'm just sharing it here. She says, when people want to get their kids married, they come and they match the horoscopes. They ask, "Will my child get married?" Like a lot of times they ask, "Will my child get married?" But no, nobody asks, "Will this marriage last or not?" Or how will the quality of this marriage be? It's just about the first step. Yeah, a lot of times, that promise of marriage is there in your horoscope, but how happy will the marriage be? So we're not like, why are we just ticking off things in life? We have to go deeper and see the broader perspective. It's like, okay, will I travel abroad or will I study abroad or will I get a job abroad? Of course, your horoscope says you will get a job abroad, but will that job be fruitful? That is something that you need to kind of ask more or inquire more. Will it be worthy if I travel or if I work abroad? That is what we need to go. Don't just go to the superficial levels and stop yourself there. Go deeper. And like I said, coming back to the statement that just don't, just enjoy every minute of this life. And even if you're doing something which you may not like to do, but you know that you have to do it with joy, gratitude, and enjoying that act, because that will lessen the burden of that action. It will really reduce the burden of what you are needing to do. So yeah, it's not about being proven right. What is your choice? Coming to this is what I wanted to actually pick up from Vani's sharing, that when we are kind of disappointed that others are not agreeing to me, and like she said, their ego gets hurt because you're coming from a space of ego will only be when you're feeling kind of superior, which is a very sort of negative superior. Here it should be the other way around. The person who's selling you the stuff should be superior than the person who's buying the stuff. But just because monetarily they are paying for it, it's a very deep conditioning. Monetarily they are paying for it, they kind of come into a superior position, which is not true at all. And just like this thing, I mean, reflect on it. It's a very simple thing, but we all feel it. We are not uh, doing an honor to somebody from whom we are taking some services. It's both ways. Even with the staff at home, can we do without them for 2 days? I mean, our lives go topsy turvy. So if we need them, I mean, if they need us because we are paying them, that is the only thing, that we are paying them for their services. We need them as much as they need our services. And if we come from that space of equilibrium, life will be so much better. Really drop these feelings of superiority, inferiority. They're only coming from an ego space. Whether it's a sweeper in the on the road or it's, your boss. He needs you as much as you need the job.
So, Jata,
So,
so I have this discussion with a lot of my friends and relatives. They get very harsh with their domestic help, वो
hmm,
ऐसा करी, and then they get into this whole ego battle that वो
hmm,
ऐसा क्यों करी, मैंने इतना किया. I said, you don't have this battle with your family members. They are not
hmm.
doing a lot of things that you wish them to do, yet you
Yeah,
accept them. And a person who's not even related to you is working with a nominal amount of money at your house. You expect them to be like family members and treat you
yeah,
well and do everything.
absolutely. Absolutely. So we have to see it's all about raising your vibrations, raising the vibrations of people around you. Like when we come onto this talk, when we come onto this group, we may be 20, 30 odd people, but what are we talking? We're all connected at the heart. Most of us don't even know each other. We're all connected at the heart. We're all speaking kind of what each one wants to hear and actually what each one of us wants to live. And somewhere I think somebody had shared this quote on Instagram when I read that she had underlined this line on a page that she was reading, and I instantly took a screenshot and I sent it to Srishti and Tanvi that we must share on this, that how we give others the power to make us homeless, but because we are wanting to, we give them that power because we ourselves are giving them that power, and then we feel, oh, I'm suddenly you find yourself homeless because all your emotions, everything is invested in those people's happiness, agreeing to them, saying a yes at everything. And yes, I know at sometimes your setups or your situations are like this, that you would want, you just kind of um, have to follow things and you may not be able to really speak up. But I would say to a lot of people, and I apply this totally to myself, that if you can't say something positive, don't say negative, just be quiet. Because saying that negative or giving that person that energy or that power to control you and later wanting to take it back is very difficult because you yourself have handed them that remote control. So it gets very difficult, and then you come into a sort of a helpless situation that what do I do? All my life I've been pleasing this person, or I've been, doing things to create happiness in my surroundings, in my life, which is a very false sense of happiness because it's not something which will always be there. So now truly look for that happiness and joy, which is not dependent on anybody. Look for that deeper sense of joy. And when you do that, when you start coming into that space, it's not that you're becoming selfish. It's not that you're becoming indifferent. It hurts you as much as it might be hurting the other person, that, the relationship is not at that level. But I would say if it's a true relationship, you'll always be there for each other. And you will know that, this person is there who I can always bank upon or reach out. But I cannot be just saying yes to everything that the other person wants me to say. That will not last. Just to please the other person. If you are living truly, the other person may not be able to see it, but at least you live truly with that. It's just like a small child. Don't carry it. It's just like a small child. If the child is angry, he'll throw a tantrum, throw things around, say, hate you, I don't want to live in the house, I want to do this thing. But within the next hour or two, the child would have forgotten everything because he expressed his anger, expressed the emotion that he was feeling at that time, dealt with it, threw it out, and was over with it. And the next moment, he's back to playing or doing whatever is next. We do just the opposite. We say, no, no, nothing has happened. We suppress our feelings where we are feeling that anger inside or that need to retaliate or to say something, not feeling that I want to agree, but I just say a yes, just to keep a peace of mind at that moment. But it all bottles up inside, and sooner or later, it is going to come out. Sometimes it comes out in the form of, say aggression or fights or, uh, things bursting out suddenly, or it comes out in the body, these various aches, pains, diabetes, hypertension, heart diseases. These are all suppressed emotions. We know that very well, don't we? So why are we putting ourselves into that space? And yes, if there is the situation is such that you cannot express, I mean, I'm not saying you need to throw a tantrum like the small child. You cannot express yourself or you cannot say much. Deal with that emotion, feel it fully in your body, take your breath to that and dissolve the emotion. And believe me, it disappears. And the moment you see that person again, or the moment there is an interaction with that person, just absolutely don't carry that baggage, because that keeps adding to the pain, the heaviness in the relationship. Resolve it and dissolve it, put it out, go into the washroom, scream at the mirror, beat some pillows, walk in the grass, surrender it to Mother Earth, ground yourself, and come back. There will be not an iota of that. And supposing you do have an argument or there's a big fight over it and all, 2 days later you think, what was so big? Why did I really need to fight and spoil my, few days? The reason is that you want to express what you're feeling at that time, which may not be taken in the positive with the other people around you. So why do we have to express it just to those people? Those people, if they wish to change, will change. If they don't wish to change, believe me, by your expressing your anger or saying something, it will not change them. So don't waste your energy there. Just just expel out that energy in some other form. Deal with that pain. Don't suppress it. If you can talk it out, if you can share it with the person, do so. If not, do it in whichever way. Sit by a tree, walk in the grass, do a meditation, go to a temple, sit in a gurdwara. I mean, we do all these things, isn't it? But resolve it and come back. Don't come back with that pain still there, that, oh, nobody listens to me or nobody understands me. Because then you're just adding layer by layer, layer by layer. You're just adding to that pain and making it such a big pain body. So don't do that. Resolve it, dissolve it in whichever ways, and see how light you will feel. And that is really crushing. It's like really crushing your ego. Because the moment you see that person or that same situation arises again, whether it's at work or at home, something will come in. But if at that moment you can smile and not go back to that pain, it will disappear. You remember I used to say this, that many years back, somebody came to me, and as I was doing her SRT clearing, I said that, about 10 years back or something, there's a trauma that I see, and there's a lot of pain with that trauma. So she said, yeah, something happened 10 years back, but forgiven that friend and I've forgotten it. I mean, there was a big betrayal with my friend or somebody, something like that. So I said, okay, but what happened 10 years back? So believe me, she could quote each and every dialogue of that fight or that interaction with her friend. And now that those dialogues came with 10 years of pain, added pain. And the moment she started speaking, she had tears rolling down. She was crying. She was suddenly hyperventilating because she had not resolved it. We think, oh, we forgot, forgiven and forgotten. If we have forgiven and forgotten, why am I suddenly reacting? Why is my body still reacting in that way? And I might have forgiven on the face of it. I might have forgiven and forgotten and moved ahead in my life, as in it's not holding me back. But when I go back to that, can I really bless that person? Can I really thank that person for helping me to grow out of that situation? That's when we have really forgiven and forgotten. Otherwise, we just suppress it in some part, and then our knees start paining and our back starts paining. And when we go back to that memory is causing that emotional pain body in your body, in your physical body. And believe me, I deal with these patients on a day-to-day basis. It's not the physical issue. It's all about blocked emotions, suppressed emotions. So don't let yourself become homeless, is all that I want to say. Deal with those emotions. Don't run away from negative emotions just because it might create a ruffle in the energy of the house or your job or your office or your friendship, whatever it is. If you feel that the people around you are not open and receptive to accepting that you're feeling something negative or you got hurt, and if the other person has no intention to hurt you, you should have no problems in apologizing and saying, I'm sorry you felt this way, but this was not what I meant at all. The moment you say it, and you really didn't say it from a point of hurting the other person, it just dissipates. But if you are carrying pain and you wanted to pass it as a cynical comment and you wanted that the other person, she should know or he should know, then that's coming from the ego space. But now on this platform, all we're trying to do is move from the ego space to the heart space. And if even subconsciously your words or actions have hurt somebody, you should be absolutely open and transparent, not blaming the other person that she took me wrong. It's okay, she took you wrong, but then you can also take the onus of it and saying, I did not mean to say it in this way. The moment you say it, it just finishes. I had a session yesterday with somebody in the US and I told her 10 a.m. India time. And she wrote to me 8 p.m. my time. And there's so many time zones in the US and I'm very bad at it. So I usually don't say anything like with the East Coast or West Coast. I just say IST. And at 9 o'clock, she messaged me, 9 o'clock India time. I'm waiting on the waiting room. So I said, we still have 1 hour to go. So she sent me a screenshot, but you agreed to 8 p.m. I had not agreed to 8 p.m. I had agreed to 10 a.m. India time. Now your calculation was whatever. And like, she started sending me some messages, but this is what it is night for me and I adjusted for you this, that. So I immediately said, I'm really sorry. The moment you say I'm sorry, because it was really nobody's fault. Her calculation, which time zone she was in, I don't know. But you just say, I'm sorry that you misunderstood or I did not understand. You just say it and it instantly quietens the energy. And it didn't hurt me at all. It was, from my end, it was really not my fault because I stuck to India time. But she calculated, I don't know which time zone or whatever. And there was a, so what? So what? Even if she couldn't do it 1 hour later, I will fix another time. If I could do it half an hour earlier, I will do it half an hour earlier. Just be spontaneous and okay, it's not the end of the world, yeah. This is a small example, but it can be for anything. So the moment you bring down your ego, you see that the person opposite you also quietens down. But if you want to prove your point, no, I said 10 o'clock. Now that's your calculation was wrong. You should have looked at it. You should have double checked. Why are we going into that? Do we have time and energy to put in all this? Now, really, I feel we don't. I would rather say, okay, we'll do it next weekend. It's fine. I'm sorry about it. Then try to explain and prove my point and this thing. No, please, let's not waste energy on all this. And we did the session at 10 o'clock. She said, I can do after 1 hour, 9 p.m. my time. I said, okay. Because I had said to her that if she couldn't do it, I would still say, okay, it's fine. These things happen. These are small things, but similarly, bigger things also happen in life. There's nothing to take as the ultimate, nothing to take as the ultimate, especially if it is disturbing your peace of mind. How could she say this? How could he do this? No, there's nothing in all these arguments and fights and, why is this not happening in my life? Stop resisting. Just stop resisting. Open yourself to accepting what is, even if it is uncomfortable. Open yourself to the truth. Understand that everything that is happening is very temporary. How can this happen? It's not how can it happen, it's happening. Why are you trying to fight the universe? How can this happen? This can't happen to me. This shouldn't. Who are you to decide this shouldn't happen to you? You didn't even decide whether you should be born or not. Who decided? The universe decided. Your parents decided. So how can you even think of it this way? Sorry, I'm going on and on. I would love to hear from you. Does it make sense? Let's get some responses. Pooja, Vani, anybody, please share. Monica, Gitanjali.
Hi, Auntie. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
It all makes sense, but I guess it's difficult for us. I mean, I'll speak for myself. It gets difficult. I get lost. I sometimes retaliate, or ego definitely comes in between. So there are things that come in between because I guess you've been dealing with this issue for so long, you're suppressing, but somewhere within you're so suffocated by dealing with your own issues that you expect the other person to now realize and say it's okay for her to also speak, which is me. But yeah, I think I do get jacked up somewhere or the
So
other.
all you
Most
need
of the
to,
time
yeah. Very true. So thank you for your honest sharing, and I'm sure you speak for a lot of us here. That's the time you need to take that pause, because when you retaliate or when you come from the ego space, if you reflect on it and if you're honest to yourself, does it make you feel good?
Yeah,
Does
it
it make
does.
you feel?
Yeah, it does make me feel good when I'm honest. And to be very honest, it does. But the guilt factor also comes in that little while later. Ki, yaar,
So what
chup hi
feels
rahe to
good?
kya ho jata?
What feels good?
No, the
Which
power is
part of you
more
feel?
when you're dealing with the truth. That's where the power lies. You feel more happy within, but maybe you
It's
disturb
a
the surroundings.
No, but you said guilt. I mean, who would want to feel guilty? And when you said कि चुप ही रह जाते, I never mean to that you should keep quiet, but you should speak with little more awareness, little more discretion is all that I'm saying. And don't speak at that time, because that time only your ego is speaking. And somehow I don't agree to what you said that it makes you feel good. It just makes your ego feel good. If you're honest to yourself, you don't feel good about it. When you snap at somebody, when you reply back, when you retaliate, because it's been happening, then you know that it just adds to, it's just kind of boosting up your ego that I also shouted back. Then what is the difference between you and the other person?
No, no, no. Let me correct. No, it's I don't
Yeah,
feel good while snapping back, but yes, I feel good standing up for myself. But
that's fine.
that could be a firm answer that I give. But
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
I'm not used to of giving those firm answers. Is I feel that I feel guilty.
exactly.
That's where I was saying.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
feeling happy
yeah,
when I snap. Obviously, I feel
yeah.
pathetic when I snap.
Yeah. So exactly, like my son is very impulsive, so he immediately retaliates. And what happens is that he feels that people don't listen. Like they don't listen to me. So I
Yeah,
always tell
same
him that
here.
what you're saying is right, but your way of saying it is not right. And nobody listens when you retaliate. Just wait, take that pause, and then say. And I must say that I've seen him changing over this thing, because he holds himself back, because that immediately that ego rushes inside, that adrenaline rush, as we say, comes in, and you want to prove it right now, because you don't want to lose on that moment when you're feeling the power with your ego. That is a very false power. By shouting, by screaming, by instantly replying, that is a very false high. But at that moment you feel that high and you say, I have to say it now, otherwise I'll become weak. You know how it is. I hope I'm able to get this across. So I must say it now without thinking, shouting loudly, aggressively. But then the other person gets defensive also. So wait, take that pause and then say it. And believe me, you'll actually be heard. You'll actually be heard, because you are grounded. You're not coming. It's like not a table tennis match where one is shouting from here, the other one is, hitting back the ball from here, one is throwing from here. No, wait, pause, come to that moment where you know that you will be heard, and then move ahead.
Hmm.
Uh, Hi, Sujata. Uh,
Hi, Manisha.
I would like to ask one question. When you said ki wait for that moment, so that moment can be, for maybe on the same day, or maybe after 2 days, maybe after 3 days. Is it okay?
Absolutely.
Is it okay?
Absolutely okay. Absolutely okay. Now tell me one thing, right? You and I are having an argument. When you're having an argument, are you listening to me, or are you thinking, what am I going to say next? How am I going to hit back at this? इसका मुझे जवाब देना है, अभी देना है. That's coming from a
Mhm.
very aggressive space. If you're quiet, even with children, they say, if you're silent, it's the biggest way of kind of punishing the child, or if you don't respond to somebody.
But
That hurts the person more in some ways, isn't it? But then you are preserving your energy. You are not wasting your energy. And that is exactly the quote with which we started today. You are not giving the other person who's shouting at you and you are shouting back, because the normal response is that if I shout, the other person will shout, we'll get into an argument. We are like, going head on with each other. But at that time, try to refrain from retaliating at that time. The person is triggering you, and you are the one who's becoming homeless, because you've given that other person the power to press this button to make you angry. Hold on to your
but
anger at that time. Reflect on it. You may feel that I've lost that whole motivation, or that zest, and that whole, the force with which I wanted to impose this thing. But believe me, that's a very, very false perception. When you sit down 2 days later and you say, this happened that day, I didn't speak at that time, but now I want to speak. Are you open to listening? And if the person says, no, no, it's nonsense, is that don't speak. जब तब भी नहीं सुन रहे, अभी भी नहीं सुनना, तो क्यों बोलना है? क्या प्रूफ कर रहे हैं? Sit in front of God and say it. Go out in nature and say what you want to say. If it is meant to be heard, it will be heard. You are not the person with who's shouting and screaming. The other people can improve. It is only you putting out what you want to say, and you are not even being heard. Like people on the road when they shout at somebody, why are you coming in the wrong way? Why are you driving in the wrong way? I mean, do you think that you are going to teach traffic laws to that person by shouting with them on the street? It's just giving out your anger. That is all. He doesn't know how to drive. She is driving on the wrong side. And then you put your mirror down and you shout at the other person, this is not the way you should be driving, this, that. I mean, can they learn traffic rules by you suddenly trying to, stop their way and giving them some gyan? They can't. Don't waste your energy there. Only your ego gets pepped up that, I suddenly borrowed a sharp turn in front of this person and I shouted at this person. Your ego is satisfied. They will still drive in the wrong lane if they wish to. Isn't it?
So
Does that make sense, Manisha?
yes, it makes sense. So ultimately, if I say the truth is that you cannot change anyone, right? What you can do by saying or by suggesting something, it is not possible. That's what we
Okay.
are saying.
No, I want to change this slightly. You cannot change anybody. If the person is willing to change, they will change, but you are not changing them. You understand? Drop the you, the I, the me from this. If somebody is destined to change, they may change due to anything. Maybe the time comes in their life, or maybe some trauma they go through, or something happens that changes them. But don't think that you're saying those words changes them. And yes, it could also be that sometimes you're speaking to that person in that way, and the person is open to listening, and they reflect further, on what you're saying, and then they kind of say that, that thing that you told me many years back really helped me to look at things from a different perspective, and I've never gone back to doing that thing again. But again, it is not, you are just a medium there to show them something at that point, and they had to be taking it at that moment because they were ready. So it is not you who have done anything. The universe has put you there. Why is it that 10 times or 100 times you've told the person nothing has happened, but now suddenly after 10 years they've suddenly understood what you're saying? Because now they are ready. It is the truth. You stay by the truth. If you feel that by being in this way and by not retaliating, you are peaceful and you continue to live like that, the person will ask you, what gives you that peace? And then you will tell them that what gives you that peace. And then you will tell them that peace is not about you. And if I tell you that, please look at things from this way, it will help you to grow. I'm only saying it for your benefit, but I can only say it if I too am practicing it. That is the truth. What is the truth for me now may not be the truth for me later, isn't it? There is no universal truth. There is only one universal truth. If I say this class is good for you, this talk is good for you, yes, it is good for you because you need to hear certain things, but that's not the ultimate. For somebody, it may mean nothing, and that's just fine. Tomorrow, I may be speaking something on a different note, on a different, level of consciousness, which may also be there. So everything is so relative. Nothing is absolute and ultimate. So don't take things in that way. Does that make sense, Manisha? Because we are struggling with this to prove this truth and we waste our lives. Is it so
Yes, Neha.
important for the other person to agree to what you're saying? He can't see it. You're going on saying this is black, but he's saying this is blue, this is blue. Let them say, oh, okay, it is blue because they don't know what is black. So why do you want to prove to them and waste your energy? Don't do that. Don't dissipate your energy there. Step back and just say, you know it is the truth. It makes you happy and peaceful. You live by it. And when you live in that peaceful situation, it is so infectious. I like to say that this peace that we kind of radiate around us, it is so seductive that people invariably ask you and come to you and say, okay, how can I also be peaceful? But if you feel I will be peaceful if he says yes to me or if she says yes to me, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Today she may say yes, tomorrow she may say no. Whether it's a child or a parent or a partner. I love if you come into my side of the thing and say yes and see this joy. But if you can't, I just bless you and I keep praying that you're able to see that, or whatever makes you peaceful, may that peace dawn in your life. That is all. It doesn't have to be that if I get peace by doing Reiki, you will also get peace by doing Reiki. Don't think that way. Everybody has a different resonance. So stop this need for making people agree to you or follow what you're saying or say yes to what you want to say. Put it out, say, this is my perspective. And it's always okay to agree to disagree. You don't have to change your perspective if you truly feel by what you're saying, but you don't even have to make the other person agree to you. It's like, that image where you have a six, where somebody is looking at it as a six, but कोई उधर से देख रहा है, उनको nine दिख रहा है. So how can you prove to them that this is a six? They are seeing it from their point of view. Respect their point of view just as you want your point of view to be respected. And you can stay so peacefully. But your ego says, no, he should also say that this is a six. And he keeps saying this is a nine. And he wants you to say that it's a nine. So it's your two parallel lines. You'll never be able to meet. But be peaceful by looking at it and knowing it's a six. And let them be peaceful by looking at it and saying it's a nine. How is it impacting you? And yes, if it is really impacting your life in some way, then see how you can best come out of it peacefully. Come out of it meaning come out of that argument peacefully. Okay, he doesn't agree. He can't see. She's not able to agree. Drop it. Just drop it because you are peaceful. And if it is disturbing your peace of mind, it is not worth it. It is just not worth it. It could be anything. It could be a college admission. It could be a marriage. It could be anything that big also. But just step back because whatever is meant to happen will happen. Yesterday only with this lady who I was working in the US, she said, I think should I have agreed to the divorce or not? So I said, you're not God. Don't make yourself God. If you agreed to it and it was not meant to happen, it would have still not happened. If you did not agree and it was meant to happen, it would have happened. Similarly, anything in your life, if it is meant to happen, it will happen. So don't resist. Don't fight to make it happen because you are just doing, like now we're really moving from the 3D, I have to do, to just coming into a higher space and say, okay, God, you do, because actually only God is doing. Universe, you do. I can't struggle anymore. Why do you even want to bring yourself to that break point and say, bas, enough, I can't do anymore? Stop now only and say, I can't do it. I just cannot do it. So show me or give me the path to do it. Really, the energy, the 5D energy now is minimum effort and maximum output. And that does not mean we are being lazy or we are not putting in effort. Hand it over to the higher power. Put it in the basket of God, as Muji Baba says. And then just sit back because actually we're not doing anything. I mean, tell me if you were the one who was controlling your relationships and your life and your body and your health, would it be this way? Would your life be like this? All your relationships would be just beautiful. You would be just like, having the figure that you want. Everything would be just to perfection in the way you want it. But it's not that way because it's just meant to be in the way that it actually is meant to be. You're not the architect of your life. And that does not mean that you've resigned or you failed or you're not. Understand that there is a higher power running this whole show. Surrender to that and say, show me the light, show me how to go about this. I don't know how to handle this. There's nothing wrong in saying that. Does that make sense, Manisha?
Yes, Sujata. Yes.
Anything, any small thing that is making feeling like a struggle, usko chhod do. Apni
Hmm.
energy usme mat dalo. Come to your breath, which is the truth. Vandana, before you go, you had mentioned something. I couldn't read your message. I would want you to share it if you still want to, like something you had written in between.
Actually, I relate to what you're saying so much uh, because of the recent events in my life, and I so strongly feel that what you're saying is so true that while listening to you, I have tears in my eyes. I don't know how to control them, but I'm feeling very happy about it that You are a
So
part
I
of my
say one thing
life.
here, just thank you. And I feel the same. And I really want to say one thing which I was emphasizing. This is not me speaking. I don't take the credit for this. This is something which I believe, which is the truth for me. And the universe puts those words in these 20 people who need to hear it today.
Yeah,
That's all. I truly believe that. I don't take the credit for it. I enjoy doing these talks. Of course, I
I
like
know.
it when somebody says it resonates. Why does it resonate? Why does it bring tears to our eyes? Because not because of your recent events only, because you are in a low vibration, in a painful vibration, and this brings you into that space of love and peace, which is the core for all of us.
Yes, true.
Somebody is going through a financial thing, somebody is going through a health thing, किसी के relationship में problem है, किसी को job नहीं मिल रहा. So everything pulls your vibrations down, whatever it might be. Every minute there's a new story for every one of us, but we're not holding on to those stories. We want to just grow above that and come to this heart space where we're all one and live from there and
Yes.
cherish these tears, because you have the ability to, for these words to touch that part where you, I, and all of us here are the same. Live with that.
Yeah,
Just look at everything with those eyes. Everything will get sorted.
true, ma'am. Very true.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you. Thanks to you,
I
ma'am.
have I have a question.
Yes, Ekta.
Yeah. So we are discussing about how we do not react to the situation, to the angry situation at that time. So if we hold on to ourselves, and sometimes that situation takes time to resolve, even if we don't react to it. It takes sometimes months, it can take any time,
Yeah,
amount of time
true,
to resolve. And
true.
so that period of time where you feel stuck, where after every few minutes, like you're helpless, you are just, uh, you can't do anything about it. And after every few minutes or after every some time, there's something or the other which comes up which disturbs you, even if we're
Yeah.
trying to keep strong. So, like, how to overcome that time that where
Okay.
situation is not resolving, and it may take longer than you think, and
And it may
it's
never
just
resolve.
disturbing.
I'm sorry to say, but it could even be that it may never resolve. So, will you all your life keep waiting for it to resolve to be more peaceful? That's exactly what I'm saying. And it's very good to sum it up with your question, Ekta. It may not resolve, or it may take time to resolve, but what am I going to do till that time? That choice is yours. That's the free will that we say. If destiny says it's going to, take you this much of time to go through whatever you're going through, say it may be 10 years, it may be 10 days, it may be 10 weeks. How do you choose to spend those 10 days and 10 weeks? That is your choice. Because if it's going to take that much time, it's going to take that much time. But if you resist it, that no, it should happen earlier, that's the struggle, that's the pain. But if you say, okay, I don't know when this is going to be resolved, but I can't waste my life. Let me just make the best of what I have. The moment you say that, you'll see
Hmm.
so many things to be happy about. I'm breathing, I have a roof, I'm eating, I have my friends, I have, so many things that can make me happy. Why is only this thing to be resolved for me to start living? That's not being fair to yourself and to life.
Hmm.
Right? So that's the choice you need to make and take that power, that control within yourself. That's exactly what the quote said when we started, that don't give the power to others, because we invest so much in their homes, in their happiness, that we become homeless. So invest in your happiness so that nobody can make you homeless. Invest in your own happiness so that nobody can make you homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah? Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Thank you for being here and for sharing.